Really excited to be joined today by James Temple. James is an owner and an investor in dozens of small businesses, but today we'll be chatting mainly about Mathnasium, which is a math tutoring franchise that he owns a number of locations in. So James, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, absolutely, Will. Glad to be here. Before we get started, though, what's up with your eyes?
Yeah, this week was the 1 week that we had freezing temperatures in Texas. So I was making my way out to the car yesterday and managed to face plant right into the bumper. So
Oh,
I'm here with a shiner.
yeah. Well,
But
thanks for persevering and doing this anyway.
I'm really excited to chat. So I got a chance to get to know you the other week, and you have a really cool story. Mind just walking me through, where did that entrepreneurial drive come from? Was that something that you were planning to do when you got out of the Air Force? Take me through that.
Yeah, well, I did my undergrad at UVA as well in math, and was there on an Air Force ROTC scholarship, and went on to be an Air Force officer for 7 years. It was a great experience. Learned a lot. But I had this, thought that maybe one day I did want to own a business, and I didn't want to travel for the rest of my professional career as a military officer. So I started to think about what would transition look like. And an MBA program, Darden, was really attractive as a way to educate myself on business, but also take the time to figure out what could be next. And I had come across Mathnasium in a magazine while I was getting my haircut on base in the military. And I was like, given my experience with math undergrad, and I was tutoring kids at the time and enjoyed that just for fun. And then when you pair that with, I was looking to do something with my mom, who had 30 years of experience in early childhood education, it started to make a lot of sense that this could be a good fit for us.
And so Mathnasium pops on your radar. Did that first open up this question of, do you start your own kind of independent math tutoring center, or was franchising the plan once you kind of came across that?
I never seriously considered starting something of my own. I really like to have a concept and be focused on execution and putting capital to work in an efficient way. Luckily, Mathnasium provided that opportunity. We did think about opening our first Mathnasium de novo, meaning it was a new territory. We would find the space and start from scratch. But we were approached by a wonderful couple who owned the one Mathnasium that was in Richmond, Virginia, and they asked if we would buy from them, and that was a more efficient way of getting started. So we decided to do that, so that was our first Mathnasium. But we opened the next 5 ourselves.
Oh wow! And now fast forward, since 2009, almost 16 years, you own 24. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
And along the way, what were the big kind of scaling pain points?
We bought our first one. My mom and I worked in it both full time. It was very small. We had about 30 kids, and we were completely overwhelmed. And it took growing. It took the franchise maturing. It took us maturing as owners, developing systems, building the right teams, to where it is easier to operate 24 than it was at that time. The pain points, because there were 2 of us, we could move to 2 fairly efficiently. That's what we did. My mom, her name is Joanne. She ran the first one, and I opened the second one. Certainly 3, 4, 5, where it was a lot of figuring out what does it mean to operate multiple units. And I was still operating one, and that become unsustainable. And so what does the business look like when I step out? We trust other people to run these. Then there's new growing pains as you move from 5 or 6 to a large multi-unit operation, and you're in multiple districts, and there becomes so much that you need to turn over larger chunks of the business. And so I would say that's at about 10. And then,
Okay.
Hopefully by 10, you have a scalable and repeatable process. But there's growth along the way. I have 24. I have a friend who has over 70 of them, and I've seen how he has grown past 30 in ways that I haven't had to experience yet.
One thing that really stuck out from the conversation we had the other week was the importance of math and its impact on kids, and how that mission really drives you. Do you mind just sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We were fortunate to be in a purpose-driven business that really does change lives through math. When I think about why kids get a math education, I think about 3 things primarily. The first is it's just life skills. There are things you need to be able to do to get through life. Second is there are career opportunities that require significant proficiency in math. Not everyone is going to be an engineer, but you shouldn't have to decide that while you're in third grade, right? You ought to
Right.
have the foundation to be able to have all the opportunities that come available for you. The third and perhaps most powerful is math is a subject that is so well suited for teaching you problem solving. What we see as a side effect of a great math education, especially for kids who are struggling, is that we can really build confidence. And through that confidence, there's so many other things in their life that improves. They think differently about themselves, and not only grades in other subjects, but just their behavior at home. It's really meaningful work, and I'm glad we get to do it.
That's really awesome, especially to kind of come in every day with that mission, that purpose driving you. Let's dive into the business. So you have a student who's struggling with math. You have a parent who wants to help them get better, either get to grade level or exceed grade level. They're interested in coming in. What does the kind of customer journey look like from when they first express interest in learning more to being an active customer?
They will make initial contact primarily three ways. The most common is to call. But they may fill out an online form, or they may walk in the door. And in all those cases, we're going to tell them about Mathnasium and what we do and how we can help their kid. And we're going to schedule an initial assessment with them. At that assessment appointment, we will first make sure everyone, is welcome and put at ease, especially if the kid is anxious about being there. And then we're going to do the initial assessment to really understand where the student is and communicate those results to the parent. And through that conversation, determine what the best path forward to enrolling at Mathnasium is. Mathnasium is a membership-based program. And so parents will sign up for 7, 12, or 18-month memberships, and they pay a monthly membership fee, and they come about twice a week and work in a small group with an instructor.
And from a pricing perspective, are you paying monthly, and kind of like what does ballpark pricing look like for this?
Yeah, parents pay monthly, and on average, it's about $300 a month. It's lower in some places in markets where cost of living is lower. And
Sure.
then we're in DC. We're in the McLean market, for example, where we have our most expensive pricing, and it will exceed $300 a month.
Okay. And then they get placed into that small group with an instructor. Mind walking me through, what does the average instructor look like? How do you find them? What is it important for them to be good at?
When we look for instructors, we look for three things primarily. One, are you good at math? And we're going to test you and talk to you about math to figure that out. Two, and this is incredibly important because so many kids are not having a good experience with math. We want instructors who are really personable and can connect with kids, who can create a relationship with kids where kids look forward to coming back. And three, of course, we want to make sure that your kids are safe. So we want to make sure these people we're hiring are people that are a good influence on your kids and that we can trust them with. We find them in all kinds of different places, everything from really talented high school students to retired teachers or retired engineers and everything in between. The high schoolers, they're some of our best instructors because they relate really well with the kids. They're in the math. And we get people who are going to be doctors and lawyers. They're going to go to the best schools. And it's nice to be their first employer and to have them help us execute our mission with the kids.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Do you centralize like bookkeeping, some of the back office functions across all the units?
Yeah, absolutely. As you scale, that becomes incredibly important. One, because you want to provide great support for your center directors, and you want your center directors focused on the things that make a difference on a daily basis in their four walls and not having to worry about many of the things you can centralize. And two, it gives us the ability to bring in expertise in these functional areas. So yeah, we have centralized HR. We centralize general support for the centers, whether it be facility work or some of the supply ordering, or my phone's not working, how do I get it fixed? These kinds of things. We've centralized marketing. Some of training is centralized. So those are some of the back office. Bookkeeping, of course, is centralized. So those are some of the functions.
Speaking of books, what does the average profile look like of a unit in terms of how much revenue they're doing on a monthly basis?
Yeah, a cool story with the first one. When we bought about $70,000 of revenue for the last 12 months.
Okay.
That location in, I think it was 2019, was the number one Mathnasium in the country.
No way.
And that's here in Richmond. It's our short pump location. On average, so one of the things that's nice about being part of a franchise is the franchisor, at their discretion, publishes these numbers in the FDD, the franchise disclosure
Sure.
document. in 2023, the median Mathnasium did $310,000 of revenue.
Okay.
And in the FDD, it shows an operating profit of 107. But what they exclude is the cost of the unit manager, because an owner may choose to run it themselves. So this is a choice you have to make. And if you're going to pay someone to run it, you'll add about $55,000. So in that case, you're looking at about $50,000 to $60,000 of net income from the four walls of that location, which is about 17%. So between 15 to 20% profit margin on the median Mathnasium in 2023. And that continues to grow, which is nice. The other thing that's nice is as you move above those medians, the margins are really solid. And, top Mathnasium has done something like $1.3 million and probably put off $500,000 of cash.
Wow. What would you say separates those kind of like top decile locations from the median?
First, we're full-time, fully committed to the business. This is not a hobby. This is not something we do in the evenings after we've done another job. We are fully committed to the business. There's 300 people on our team, and we're all committed to this business. That's number one. Two, you have to make good decisions about where you put these things, not on a larger scale, which territories you pick, and then the real estate that you pick within those territories is really important. Those are decisions you make once or maybe twice if you move. The day-to-day decision is who is there on the ground, working with families, working with these kids, building an instructor team, building relationships with all these people, making them feel great about being part of Mathnasium, and being diligent about reaching out to the community and our schools to provide more exposure for the brand.
Got it. Two last questions on Mathnasium. One, if you were to do this all over again, what would you say is like one core principle or tactic that you would do differently?
Well, I would go faster. I'm not sure that's a principle or a tactic, but I would go faster. Hindsight's easy. We know a lot more now. We could go faster if we knew everything we knew now. But we were in the system early, and there was a lot of opportunity. And while we've taken advantage of a lot of opportunity, we could have taken advantage of even more. And I think it took me a while to really understand that we are in a sales business. And now I'm convinced every business is a sales business. And, and it took me a little too long to get to that point. And so I would have instilled a sales-based culture from the very beginning. Definitely would have done that differently.
Got it. On that note, we're sitting here in February of 25. We catch up this time next year. What are your goals for Mathnasium?
Yeah, we want to continue to grow the portfolio as much as it makes sense. How many units that is somewhat out of our hands. We're a trusted partner when people decide that it's their time to move on or retire. We have friends throughout the system who call us, and we have long-term plans with a lot of those people, and they can make their decision at their time, and we'll help them move on to what's next. And so I don't know how many units that is over any particular time, but we're poised and ready to do that. And we're always excited about de novo opportunities in the system, territories that haven't been opened in markets that we're already in. And so we continue to evaluate those opportunities as well. So in terms of Mathnasium, we'll have more units. And I'm interested in entering other brands as well. We have this infrastructure and expertise that I think we could apply other places. And so we're always looking for something.
Awesome. Well, James, really, really appreciate you coming on today. If folks are in need of math tutoring for their kids, you also have, pretty established practice of investing in small business acquisitions. If there are searchers and sponsors out there looking to raise capital, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
If you are interested in getting help for your kid at Mathnasium, mathnasium.com, there's 1,000 Mathnasiums in the US, and they're all wonderful, and they would love to help you. And if you're in Virginia, Maryland, Oklahoma, Kansas, or Missouri, we'd love to help you if you want to reach out to one of ours. If you are interested in talking business, whether it be Mathnasium or ETA entrepreneurship through acquisition, you have a deal, you're looking for investors, or just want to talk about those things, reach out to me on LinkedIn, pretty easy to find, James Temple, and be glad to find time to chat with you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.